So again, I take an opportunity to thank Dr. Prajna for giving us this opportunity to present this lab in front of every one of you, just to show, it's not to showcase, but to say that each one of us can do something different to improve our patient care. So we're just trying a few things, and I'm going to quickly share with you some of that. So I'm just showing you this picture of a gentleman who I know of for several years now, but you just think who this person is, but we'll come to it at the end of the presentation. So when we talk about innovation in ophthalmology, these are the three areas I can think of. It can be a technique, you can make a new technique so that you can do comfortably some procedures, or it can be a tool, it can be an equipment, it can be a device, it can be a tool, a surgical tool which can help you again to perform some things much better than what it is used to be before, or it can be a system innovation. I think Aravind over the years have been kind of doing breakthrough system innovations, and we are so popular internationally for a lot of things which happen in our systems, including the two-table system, our outreach, optical dispensing in outreach, vision centers, which we have 75 plus vision centers doing cutting edge primary eye care. So these are all kind of breakthrough innovation, and also we have kind of reversed the innovation in healthcare. So to make sure that it is value based, and also it is of the highest volume and quality. And if you see, many of us don't realize that people talk that we do a lot of unconventional innovations, like how we generate demand. So we are looking at non-customers, people who don't come to the hospital. So people talk about level 5 leaders, who are on top of the leadership, who think globally. And Dr. Venkatesh is one of the level 5 leaders, and we are also proud to be a part of this organization. So the final idea would be, again, making sight affordable. So if we can make something which can make some meaningful practice, I'm sure we are doing some innovation. It can be, again, a technique, a tool, or even a system. But here in this particular presentation, I'm going into smaller tools which we have developed, but not into any technique or system. So when you talk about innovation, these are the concepts. You understand or you know that there is a problem, and then you come up with an idea which can little bit work around that problem, or it can even solve that problem at a later date. And if it's going to be a tool, then you have to design that tool, and then you have to have multiple prototypes and then titrations over that until you have a final product. So this cycle looks simple, but it's not very easy. Many of the times, you have an idea, you may design, and then after that, it may not take off for various reasons, because you need to modify the design for something, you have to change the size or the shape. But finally, people give up that idea and they say it's not possible, and then somebody else takes it up, and then he becomes a champion. So we all know this gentleman, Charles Kelman, who was the inventor. I won't say it's an innovation, it's an invention. So he got this idea when he had his dental treatment. The ultrasound was cleaning his teeth. When the ultrasound was cleaning, Kelman said, why don't we use ultrasound to break the lens? That was a kind of a cutting edge idea which for a problem. Even when we didn't have foldable lens, he was thinking about removing a cataract through a smaller incision. And that's history now, 25 years, 50 years. So last year we celebrated 50th year of phacoemulsification. Even after 50 years, people have been only innovating around phacoemulsification, the technology and the tools for it and the lenses for it. But the basic concept remains the same. Even with your laser cataract, still phaco holds good, and Charles Kelman is still so popular for his invention. But there are some problems, like this is a problem which I always had. How do I remove cortex comfortably after a laser cataract surgery? So this was there till I saw an award-winning video a few years back at ASCRS where they came up with a very simple idea. Now I'm just again highlighting this. Don't think certain things which you do are simple. For somebody else it may be so complex. You have to show them that you can make it simple so that they would also benefit. So this technique which I saw was called as second wave hydrodissection. So the first wave is the one which you do after capsulorhexis, and this second wave they described that after removing the nucleus in the femto laser cataract, you do another wave of hydrodissection, and once I started doing it, the problem got solved. Even in small mid-dilated pupils, you still can comfortably do once you do the second wave. So this is a very simple tip, but it has changed the way, at least I comfortably practice a flax cataract surgery. It was always, when I start this case, how the cortex is going to be, is going to comfortably remove. But after I came across this technique, I'm not worried about that. So if you can solve a problem like that, it can be a great idea. So same way, one of my colleagues, Dr. Prabhus, who is in Chennai now, he was always thinking that in sutureless scleral fixation, people have to handle the haptic in the anterior vitreous, which many of them were not comfortable because they are not used to vitreous. They are not used to. Even now we are so good that we don't have a PCR and we don't know how to do a vitrectomy also. Now we have become that good, great cataract surgeons. So we don't know how to handle things in vitreous. The VR surgeons were comfortably doing. So that bothered him. The anterior segment surgeon's problem or their lesser skill of handling something in the vitreous bothered him. And he came up with a brilliant technique called extraocular needle incision technique. So basically this is again for a bigger or a small incision or the wider incision where you're going to put a rigid lens inside. So basically he bent the 26 gauge needle and he brought the needle outside the tunnel, threaded the haptic so that in one step you can take it out through the sclera. So you don't have to do a handshake or a haptic exchange and all that with multiple instruments. Great idea. It solved a lot of people's problem. So a lot of our surgeons now comfortably do the Exnic technique of handling the haptic. And the other idea which he came up was putting a silicon stopper which you see in this picture. So many of the times when you are doing the other haptic, you may lose this haptic again. So he came up with another brilliant idea of putting a silicon stopper so that the haptic will not go inside when you're manipulating the other side. So he not only did this, he worked with our beloved Aurolab team, to come up with a product, an Exnit kit, which is now available in the market and which comes with this needle, the markings, where exactly you have to do sclera, how long it has to be the pockets, where exactly to insert the needle, and then it comes with a double silicon stopper now. So that even one of it you lose, the second stopper is there to protect. Brilliant idea, again. So from a kind of an problem which he was seeing with anterior segment surgeons, he went to design a technique and he didn't stop there. He said people can bend a 26 gauge needle and do. But some of them were not bending at the right place and they were again having problems. They said, I'm not able to thread, the haptic is not going inside, or it's not long enough to bring it outside. So we had to come up with exact dimensions so that they don't fail. So that is when the kit came up. So this is one idea which now has become a product and we are practicing it. So I'm not talking about things happened many years back. I'm talking about something which happened a couple of years back. And now you have an excellent kit and it's available, and any small incision surgeons, when you have a bigger incision, you're doing a PMMA scleral fixation, it's an ideal technique to do. So this is again another idea came from one of our colleagues and also our instrument technician, Dr. Seema, and he is also in the paper, Sulaiman. So holding the globe for wet lab practice wasn't that easy. When you hold the globe with devices like some holders or even people used to use camera roll those days, or even an eye, a face with a demo face with all that, the hold was not that good enough. So once you start doing some things like tunneling or phacoing, the eye used to come out of the holder. So they used the idea of a vacuum holder, which was used in femto laser procedures for refractive surgery. So they had this vacuum chamber and the spring action syringe. So they said, why don't we use a spring action and make a holder for the eyeball, so that with the spring, the vacuum holds the eyeball now so tightly, it doesn't come off easily. So you can check pressure, no, you can even adjust the pressure inside the eye, 50, 40, and all that. We have done that, and this is also published in Journal of Eye. And you can do lot of procedures comfortably, like making a scleral tunnel, or doing a DSEC, no, putting a DSEC flap inside, or doing a tube surgery. You can increase the pressure and feel how the heart is in certain procedures. So all this was possible from a simple idea, which is again borrowed from a different technique, but used entirely for a different purpose. And then the whole purpose now is become more comfortable for the people who do wet lab practice. And it is so nice. Recently, when one of our colleague, Dr. Satish, was traveling for ASCRS, there was a request from Kellogg for a vacuum holder. Then we had to send it through him. So somehow they've seen this publication, and they heard from somebody that it holds eyeball very well. So they wanted for their wet lab. So when you see some of these devices being used, and also when others request for it, you feel really happy, and you have achieved something by doing it. So this is the problem I said. When you have an idea, lot of times our team find it difficult to design. So that is when we worked with a very good institute called Vellore Institute of Technology, which the chancellor is Dr. Vishwanathan. He was very kind enough to sign an MOU with, it's not only for Pondicherry, it's for the whole system. So anybody can use this MOU for transfer of ideas, for people to come here and work, for us to go and use their equipments like a spectral electron microscope or things like that, which we don't have access in their electrical labs and mechanical labs, to work on some products and things like that. So this helped us in getting some enthusiastic engineers into Pondicherry, and also share our problems to them, and they came up with some brilliant ideas. So the same time, we wanted, because they wanted to set up a 3D lab. So we wrote to Aravind Eye Foundation, and Aravind Eye Foundation was kind enough to give us a seed grant of $8,000 to set up this lab, which has got a 3D printer and a state-of-art system to do CAD drawing for the 3D printing, and we have some tools and things for making some prototypes in that lab. So this lab was set up exactly a year back. So that is why I thought I should make this presentation to show what are all the things which we were able to achieve in this year. So the first thing which I want to highlight, which is not a year, but it's a 3-year project now, but it's a product now. It's called CFA, which is an alternative to Humphrey Field Analyzer. It is called CFA because it is cost effective, it is kind of compact, and also it can be easily used. So it's comfortable for the patient. Comfortable, compact, and cost-effective field analyzer. We still have not proven that it's cost-effective, but we have trials, and we are going to publish it soon. So this problem you all know. I show this picture. This picture was shared by Dr. George from Madurai, and you can see one of the Achis in Madurai. Rajesh may know this Achi. She may be related to him, I don't know. But many of these patients sleep off, right? And you know how difficult it is to do a visual fields in a Humphrey analyzer, and to make them understand what exactly is happening, what are you doing. So there is a big barrier between us and the patient when we are doing an investigation like field. It's more subjective. Now anything which is objective is easy. OCT you can easily get, topography you can easily get. Anything which is subjective like this, it's so difficult to get patients done. So we wanted to make it simple. So the problem was given to a group of young engineering students headed by one of the young engineer called Sandal Kotawala. He was then completing his first year at VIT, Triple E. So he came up, he saw the problem, and then after a few weeks, he came up with a virtual reality-based program, a mobile-based program. We tried it. It looked like a great idea. And then we kept working with him, in different models, and the 3D printer also helped us to print. And then now we have a standalone. It's not a mobile-based field analyzer. It's a standalone equipment now. And it has undergone a lot of trial and errors in the last 3 weeks, both in our lab and also at VIT. And now we have a product. So just to show you some of the field reports, we have several reports like this. So this is a patient with who had a neurological problem, but bitemporal hemianopia, one side of it. Now see how comparable it is between those two machines. So we discussed with Chris Johnson, who is like the father of visual fields, who has done a lot of work on visual fields. When I was there last time, I showed him the equipment. He was really so impressed. Because the smart thing was, it can be controlled by the other mobile, and you can see what the patient is doing on the other mobile. So that to a great extent helped to take care of what the patient is doing to see. If they're not doing the right thing, if they're not centered in the central point, if they sleep off or if they're not comfortable, you are seeing what they're doing. You can stop and you can restart, or you can explain them what to do exactly and do. So that area he was really impressed, because there are few people working on this. But standalone with another mobile tracking through Bluetooth what is happening was very unique of this CFA, which he was very impressed, and he was kind enough to help us in doing field trials. So we did a trial with our IRB, and it's already submitted in ophthalmology. I think it's under review now. The results have been very promising. And it has also gone through a lot of work now, from basic to now. And this is the other advantage. The neuro-ophthalmologists, or even neurologists, got more excited in this than ophthalmologists. The ophthalmologists wanted threshold strategies and glaucoma patients, their normative data. But when it comes to neurology, when you have to do a visual fields on somebody who is on a stroke or who is recovering after a surgery for a pituitary tumor or a craniopharyngioma, it's very difficult to bring them to a field machine for the next 3 months or 6 months. So if you can do something on a bedside like this, and we are also tried with the team at JIPMER, and also the other possibility is doing it in outreach, vision centers, and even for private clinics where they cannot afford for a visual fields. And now these are the places where there is a scope for this, and already the team is a company now, and it's a startup, and they have sold close to 30 plus units. I believe 3 or 4 people have returned it for various reasons, but a lot of people are comfortable and they are using this visual fields. And as Dr. Prajna said, Dr. Kiran Bedi was kind enough to endorse this because she had a youth engagement program, and he said, this is one of our youth who made a product from nowhere. And then he said, I would be happy to meet that team and endorse the equipment also. She endorsed, and it was very well covered in the media a few months back. So the next area which was always bothering us is how do we record, because only few of the operating rooms have surgical recording systems. But many of the times trainees don't get an opportunity to operate there. But trainees are the main people who have to again record, review their surgery with their trainers, or maybe have that in their archive to see what went wrong. Definitely the CGN surgeons need for various reasons, for evidence, for publication, for presentation in conferences, but this has been bothering us. So we used the Raspberry Pi system. It's a Linux-based system, and then we developed an adapter for it which can be coupled to the microscope like this, so that you can do surgical recording. So it goes through the side scope. So there are a lot of issues with it because of somebody cannot see through the side scope. You have to fit it, and then it'll record. The quality was really good. We made a video for ASCRS, and it won an award in IIRSI also a few years back. But Aurolab team also helped us in modifying it and making it into a good gadget. And now we are using it regularly to record some of our trainee surgeries. But when we came across another idea of using a GoPro camera, which doesn't need a side scope. It can go to your beam splitter directly, and then it was much comfortable and not very expensive. Now we are using that idea also. But this Raspberry Cam is an excellent idea. So you can use this even for OPD, slit lamp recording through your side scope. Even in microbiology, if you want to take snapshots or good pictures of your microscope, your organism which is very unique or something which is interesting, you can use this. So there are several uses for this, and depending on the need, it can be used. So this we call it as RASP cam. Okay, this is very simple, like what Dr. Prajna said, but there are a few things which always bothers you. Now, when I say you see the light of the microscope, there are a few patients asking, "Endha light is sir? Enge or light theriyudhu? Endha light paaka solreenga?" So this question is always there. No, either you just say, "Okay, the microscope light nera theriyudhu paarenga," or you do something around it. So we thought, why don't we do something around it, like a simulation, so that you engage your patients before they even go inside the operating room. So that's how these two ideas came, of making a simulators. And again, this was again, Rajesh now heads the 3D lab with the help of team students from VIT and a few other people who can draw CAD drawing. So he drew some drawings, and then now we have come up with two beautiful products. So this is to show what your Lumira microscope shows, and this is for flax, the femto laser. So they have this 6 lights, and then they have to see the center of the 6 lights. So at least this gives an idea of what exactly to see. This doesn't work for people with mature or hypermature cataracts, but most of our patients with immature cataracts who have reasonably good vision can see what is there. And this is how they show. So every patient shows, then they undergo an audio counseling about topical and what is the drape and things like that before they come to the surgery. So this brings in a lot of kind of comfort, and also for both the patient and the surgeon. Sometimes they touch your drape or they say where to see, I'm not sure. So all this helps. So this is a very simple product, but still we were able to do this because we have this lab. Otherwise, there was a crude way of doing it by showing torchlight and things like that. But now we know exactly how a microscope is. So this is a problem, again, we said, for pediatric patients and even for cadaver. Now, Seema was saying, the students, that we're not able to find the jugular vein, so blood is so important for keratoplasty, so we want something which can find the vein. And still, this is still under work, but there is a product now, and this team is already a startup now. The VIT students, again, who worked with us in our lab again, a few of them were printed here, and they did some infrared to find the vein. So this is called a vein finder now. So many of the vein finders which are market available are very expensive, something like 5 to 10 lakhs. And they are usually in top pediatric hospitals, where they have neonates, where they have to cut down and do the vein, so they use this. So now this startup is already marketing this vein finder, but the purpose for which what we work, whether to find a jugular vein, because at that site and things it's still not working, but they have a product now which is now being used, and they are giving it to several places for testing. And this is how you can nicely see a vein. But this is a patient who is obviously there, but we have tried on kids, chubby kids, and even our pediatric patients, where we are able to nicely see the vein to do the intravenous infusion. So this is another brilliant idea which came very recently. It's still on progress.
Okay, I just open like this.
So you can see patients. These are patients from Alan Robin. We know he has recorded 800 videos of his patients using eye drops, and most of them get the drops into the nose, sometimes into the ears, sometimes into the cheek, sometimes into the forehead. So when somebody in Baltimore is getting it like that, you should think of patients who are here, who are illiterate, their health literacy is very poor. So this is how they apply. Sometimes we don't worry. Sivagami did some good work on developing a prototype, but I don't think it went up after a certain stage for various reasons, like an pen model. But there are several ideas which are there, but not even a single idea we are practicing even now. There are so many droppers or facilitators which are there. Zalatan came with Zalis and things like that, but there's nothing which we give a patient to comfortably use. Some of these are chronic conditions like uveitis, glaucoma, where they have to get the medications at the right time and also at the right place. So there is an issue which was bothering us, and Dr. Pavan, one of my colleague here in glaucoma. So he used again the 3D printer, and he came up with a very smart idea of a glass dropper. So they printed the glass, and they printed like this, so which the drop will go inside, and this can be slided. That's the best part. So you can use from one eye to the other eye. You can slide it and then fit the drop and apply. So like this, you can sit and then you can apply. So I tried this, it looks like a brilliant idea, but still we are working to center it and make sure there is some target for them to see, so that so this is how it is applied now. So it's right on the cornea, so you press and then you can get the drop inside. So you wear your glass, so you can carry it anywhere you go. No, it's not your regular glass, but it's an add-on, so you carry it. So we even some time back we tried a mirror on a cap, which they can see their face and their eyelid and apply. In fact, we made two, and two patients they don't want to return. we gave for testing, and they said, sir, இது ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கு, கண்ணாடி இந்த தொப்பி போட்டு தான் நான் மருந்து போடுறேன், and they are not returning. So that idea didn't take up from there. It's still there, but this looks like a brilliant idea, which can be again, with iterations, it can become a product in the future. We'll have to work more on this to make it a real good product. Okay, I think this is the last one. I just want to talk. We have a very good wet lab in our practice. I heard in Madurai there is a dry lab where they practice, but there is an issue in always doing certain things like slit lamp, 90 diopter examination, indirect ophthalmoscopy. So many of the times young residents have to practice on live patients. When they have to search their nerve, they are just into, I see many of the new ones nodding their head, they are just into ophthalmology, and they are learning Tamil now, and they are now learning how to hold the lens in a particular place for 90D, and they also have to see the nerve. It's not easy. So this problem has been there, and some time back, one of our retina fellow used a table tennis ball, the ping pong ball, to make a device, and it was published in Journal of Retina to improve the training through simulation, training to do fundus photography, doing laser. But this was basically designed to do laser, and now we are taking it to the next level using 3D printing now of eyeballs with similar optic there. There is a cornea with the plus diopter lens, and it works like your regular eye. And it's got a nice holder. I'll just show you how it works.
Holder
so this holder
that can be fixed to any slit lamp.
Can be fixed to any slit lamp like this.
To also design the
so
other
this
end
distance is exactly like how where your patient is sitting, in front of you. So the optics will match to that. And then the eyeball can be fixed to this holder. So now we have
tracer
the 3D printed tracer, but basically the idea is you can print pathology and you can see how the person is doing laser. For example, you can have a CSME, or you can have a retinal hole in the mid-periphery or periphery, and then see how the barrage has been done. So there are a lot of simulators available, but they have only to see. But now we have an idea of putting pathology into the eye, so that if somebody is doing laser, we can assess whether they are doing a good job or not. It can be our own fellows who are trained, or the residents, or the external trainees. So this is the idea of printing this and then fitting it inside the eyeball. It is cut like this, and then it goes into the eyeball, and then you cover the eyeball, and then you can start using it either to see or to even practice laser like this. So this is how I think from one idea you can go on to see how you can solve several issues related to that. So indentation is always a problem, right? So I think that really bothered
the
Rajesh.
anterior part of the model
I want to do something which really helps for indentation. So he was trying to select the best material. So he was trying to see which is equivalent to indenting an eye. So he tried different material like this. This was too firm, and it was really too flexible, and this was ideal. So they printed several times to come to that kind of a resistance, which you can feel in a normal eye. And then this is used in the back for indentation. So you can even now indent and practice, what exactly. So you can put a lesion there and indent and see whether you can see that. So this we started using. I think the young residents, I can see a smile on one face here, who practiced this doing 90 diopter, indirect, and then it's a very good tool for training our ophthalmic technicians who are going to vision centers. When you are training them, I think it's again with patients, they try 90D, photography and all that, but now they can go to the dry lab for a few days, practice this, and then go to the free hospital or wherever they are posted to practice before they go to vision center. So this will be again a great tool for wet lab practice. So let's come again to the first picture I showed you to begin with. This is a person who said, I not study in IIT, but IIT study me. No, he was the greatest innovator of the century now from Tamil Nadu. He was in Time 100 recently, because it's a teleconferencing. I don't want to keep the suspense going. So a movie was made based on him, the Pad Man, Arunachalam Muruganandam. No, he's an 8th class dropout. No, he said there's a problem here. How do I solve this? And he solved it. He cracked it. Yesterday he sent me a message that Dion Bravo, the West Indian cricketer, came all the way from West Indies to see his technology, to discuss with him, to put up several units in West Indies under his foundation or his trust. No, his chapter is on Tamil Nadu +2 textbook now about innovators in the state. So they have covered Arunachalam Muruganandam. And you know about his movie period, End of Sentence, got the Oscar award recently. It's all because of his innovation. So there was a problem which made him unhappy or unsatisfied, and he worked around a solution. And we know how that solution was difficult by seeing this movie. And people would have heard his story when he was talking about in his TED Talk and other talks. But there was a solution. And he didn't even just patent it or sell it to somebody. No, he said this is for changing the people's lives. So he's starting up self-help groups, smaller units. I was fortunate to see 1 or 2 units in Sengalpet to see whether it's feasible in our system, to prepare sanitary napkins for our own need and for also selling. But it's amazing to see how it has changed people's lives now. There are so many people benefited by working in those units, producing that, using it. The cost of it is so less, and it is also biodegradable, or it is not kind of polluting the environment. There are several things under it. So I just wanted to highlight that innovator just before we close. I think no other system has got all this in. I've only reduced to a few things. We have such a great opportunity because of our eye care services, the volume of work which we have, the amazing patient load which we have, which is a clinical laboratory here. And then we have an amazing research facility in the form of Aravind Medical Research Foundation, clinical work. We have extensive training for our own residents and people from outside. We do a lot of capacity building. And also, the most importantly, we have a manufacturing unit. So no hospital in the world will have all these wings inside. And we have that opportunity. So as young ophthalmologist here, you think of what I can do to solve a problem which is there in the back of my mind. So this is a blog which was written a few years back by Professor Kamalini Ramdas from London Business School. She says, people should build a company where everyone is looking for new ideas. And she talks about everyone at Aravind is constantly looking for ways to improve their service delivery, be it through incremental changes or radical ideas. And if they are not sure if something will work, they just try it out in a safe way. How many medical organizations can you think of to get their innovations from junior service staff? What more we need? So there are people who appreciate the ideas which have come from here. Now we experiment it. If it doesn't work, forget it. If it's going to work, we are going to scale it up. Either it may be a system, technique, or a tool. So I'm just closing with the picture of Dr. V, who's behind the innovations in eye care. No, it's again a privilege to make this presentation in front of you all, and we'll open it up for a quick discussion. Thank you.